Aha, someone's here. Oh, there's. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that message. I'm good. Yourself? I've had someone popping on and off. I don't know if it was you or somebody else. Okay, so I've got HQ Club here. Oh, there we go. What is the Q&A about? I have to go by. Okay, cheers. Well, if you're still here, the Q&A was about witchcraft and magic. Whatever questions you have. I think there's a bit of a lag on this live thing. All right, so I'm going to end this. What's this button for? Oh, look, I can share. Okay, that's handy. What the hell was that? That's weird. Okay, well, I guess nobody's going to ask questions, so I'm going to go. And don't think I'm going to actually publish this because, right, is there somebody else here? Yeah, still showing that one. All right. Oh, there we go. There's somebody here. Wait. Okay, I'm waiting. And thank you very much. This live thing on YouTube is very strange. That's good to hear. What path are you actually taking in magic? Chaos, general, Wicca? Okay. Well, Enochian's quite involved, especially for somebody just starting out. Chaos magic is a great place to start, though. Which is very, very generally based, I suppose you can say, put it that way. How are you finding it? Oh, thank you very much. Hope it was useful. Well, I assume it was because you recommended it. By the way, if you're actually into John Dee and stuff, there's a series. That's good. There's actually a series called Requiem. It's only one season. Trying to think when I first watched it. I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, actually. It's on Netflix. I watched it recently again. Very good series. It goes into to John Dee a bit, but obviously it's a series. It's fiction and stuff, but worthwhile watching. It's quite interesting. Okay. You're looking at the 72 names of God and things like that. There's actually some people who say that the Goetic demons are a parallel to the Shem Hamabula. That one, yeah. Can't say it tonight. Because of the 72 Goetic demons relating to the 72 gods or names of God, etc. I'm not sure how true that is myself, but I know some people do mention it. I think in Crowley's version of the Goetia, he actually mentions the whole thing in the introduction and stuff. Okay, good. You got to actually use what works for you. That's the main thing. Well, it's no good beating a dead horse and trying something over and over again that doesn't work. So whatever works for you, develop that. By the way, I don't know if you've seen my mention of the Temple of Chaos. I mostly use magic in secret because my family won't understand. A lot of people do, unfortunately. They have to. Um, it's a bit of a difficult topic, actually, when it comes to family. Are you? How old are you, if I may ask? Okay, all right. Then total opposite to what I was thinking of. But I have to say I actually had the same problem when I first got married. I felt like it wouldn't be accepted, and therefore I had to kind of keep it secret. The problem there was that because I was keeping a secret, my wife ended up thinking I was having an affair. Somehow it comes out at some stage. So my suggestion would actually be to not lay it on them all in one go. Just kind of hint at things. See if there's any interest there. I mean, if they are the kind of people who are, I don't know if Bible bashes is a bad term or a wrong term, but if they are severely into Christianity and they just won't accept it, then a bit of a different story. As I say, it's a difficult topic because everybody's different. Some people accept it, some people don't. You can, I mean, you can use magic in secret. It doesn't need to be. You will have a bit of a problem if you're working in Nokia. If you start getting into creating the table and the tablets and things like that. Because I mean, you really do need to have a proper temple room, really. But chaos magic is easy. You can do that on the down low. I don't actually. I've actually never used the planetary hours. Um, I have a bit of a. I don't know if I can call it an issue with the planetary hours, because they're different for everybody, depending on where you are in the world, obviously. I do recognize the days of the week and the powers that come with the days, and mostly relating it to Anglo-Saxon Norse traditions. But the planetary hours themselves, I don't. The problem is that my planetary hours are different to everybody else's because I'm in South Africa and most of the people who talk about them are in US or the Northern Hemisphere anyway. The other problem is that the planetary hours came about in a time when the stars and the planets and everything were in a different alignment. So at some point, I suspect those planetary hours would have actually shifted. So personally, I just don't use them. That's just me. Plus, I'm not very much into astrology. Okay. Look, as I say again, if it works for you, then go with it and build on it. It didn't work for me, and therefore I didn't use it. But it does work for a lot of people. A lot of people follow the planetary hours. They'll follow the moon phases. I follow the moon phases myself. Hi, Christopher. Glad to see you here. But as I say, it's one of those personal things. If it works, do it. If it doesn't, scrap it. Especially if you're using chaos magic. I'm at work. What started your spiritual awakening? Oh, that's a difficult one. Okay, I'm gonna go as quickly as I can with this because you're at work. It's a very long story. So I've always been interested in some kind of spirituality. When I was a little kid, it was ghosts and things like that, like most boys. But when I was 12, I discovered Lobsang Rampa books, and around that same age, I made a friend, Austin Ward, and I was 12, 13, 14, somewhere around there, and we started using a technique called the Christos technique, which I'm going to be discussing probably this month, which is basically putting somebody into a dream, and you can discover people's past lives and things such as that. But it was Lobsang Rampa books that actually got me all interested in spirituality, astral projection, Eastern traditions, things like that. And then obviously, being a kid, I've got to be a kid. So I actually got quite involved in the church, Methodist church, and I had what's called, I was filled with the Holy Spirit one day during a camp, and quite a profound experience, I have to say. And then I followed the church for a while, and the strange thing is that I actually got two callings in the church. One was for healing, and the other one was for demonology. And through my later days, I then left the church. There were some issues there, big problems. And then I came into witchcraft in 1995 itself. I started actually practicing, actual practice itself rather than just reading and, thinking about it and everything else. That was when my actual practice started. Hello, Rach. So that's where the whole thing actually really, really started. I was going to say something else just now, and I've forgotten. That was not very clever. But anyway, that's the basic story of my spiritual awakening. I suppose you can call it a spiritual awakening. Glad to see some people actually pitched up. It's quite nice. My first live stream, and I've got people. Oh, I'm glad to hear it. That's what the channel's there for, to try and help other people. I've got all this stuff stuck in my head and I needed to get it out somehow, so it seemed the best way. And I've been trying to actually get a YouTube channel going for years now. Just never really got it going previously. Now I think I've figured it out now. No worries, Rage. Thanks for the compliment. Do we have any other questions? It is a great platform. Unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people are actually following too well. I mean, obviously, people like, what's her name? I've forgotten now. Harmony Nice and people like that. I mean, they're gorgeous girls. People are going to follow them if they're interested in the topic or not. But I don't see a lot of people actually doing or doing it or having a channel with this topic actually getting loads and loads and hundreds and thousands of subscribers. It might reach about 80, 90,000, but that's about the max. I do have a regular daily practice. It has been changing a bit lately, and I'll tell you why. What I do, I get up at 4. I wake myself up first with a cup of coffee because I can't do anything unless I've had a cup of coffee and I'm actually awake. And then I go have a shower and wake myself up a bit more. And then I do some Qigong, and then I was doing meditation, and then I was doing half an hour of reading, and then cleaning the kitchen and having breakfast. And then I'd get started by about probably 7, 8 o'clock a day. And then I was also doing polyphasic sleep, which I'm still doing, but my time's changed. So about mid-morning, I would go and have an hour and a half nap, and then I'd get up and carry on working again. But what I've found is that morning nap is actually brilliant if it's earlier. So around about 6, just as the sun's coming up, it's brilliant for lucid dreaming and any kind of dream work. So what I've done now, I've changed it from waking up at 4, having my shower, and then doing Qigong, and then going for my hour and a half nap, get up, read for half an hour, and then I go and do meditation. So I've been changing it. I was going to do a daily routine video, but because of the change, I've actually put it off. And then in the evenings, I actually go and do some work with whatever. I might do some kind of circle work. I might just do a meditation with Hecate or something like that. That's usually about half an hour to an hour. What's this other question? Do you think interest in the occult is growing? Yes, it is definitely growing. And something I was actually thinking about today, this conjunction is the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Now, people have been saying that it is going to bring change, general change. Generally, I don't think it's going to be a huge change. Not going to be like a sudden, everybody's going to notice it. but I think something is going to change. And if you actually consider that the Great Conjunction happens every 397 years, now if you add those numbers up, you get 19. If you add those numbers, you get 10. And 10 is actually significant of a completion of a cycle. So after a completion of cycle, you obviously get a new cycle starting. So I have a feeling this is going to be a new cycle for a lot of people. And a lot of people are getting more and more interested in occult. Unfortunately, I think it's still very new agey. I think people are always going to be following the new age stuff because it's light and fluffy and fairy. But the actual, bare bones, get your hands dirty, occult stuff and the traditional witchcraft and that, more and more people are becoming interested in it. But we'll have to see where it's going. We're entering a new age anyway, regardless. I was actually reading Call of the Horned Piper. That was written before the turn of the new millennium, and he actually says in there that there's a new cycle that's starting to happen. Now we're 20 years later, so it's definitely building. Yes, I do. We had a huge storm here. We've got some fantastic storms in South Africa, I've got to tell you. I actually thought the power was going to go out. Had power problems the whole day. We went off from 8 o'clock. Only came on at 3 o'clock. They broke the power at the substation or something stupid. And then when the storm comes, usually power goes off, but I was quite lucky. I'm thinking what kind of ritual I will do during this conjunction. I think for a ritual, I would say do some things in terms of self-development. Because it's probably my own personal view, but I think that this conjunction, as I say, there is a change happening, but it is about everybody's personal development, in my view. So I would suggest doing something along those lines. Oh, that wasn't the wind, that was thunder. You should have heard it earlier. It was fantastic. I think it was right on top of us. Had a crack of lightning over there. Oh, sorry. Getting back to the ritual with the conjunction. Also, as I say, it's the solstice as well. So you can mix personal development up with something to do with solstice. Assume you're in the northern hemisphere, so that would be winter, Yule. And it is that time when I'm just trying to reverse seasons here. When my days will be getting shorter, your days are going to be getting longer. So that whole, the days getting longer thing and going back into the summer seasons, mixed with personal development and that expansion, and I think that would be perfect. A lot of weird congregations in robes will be doing rituals during the conjunction. A lot of weird. Who's doing weird congregations in robes? I don't wear robes. That's why I work alone, because I usually work naked, so nobody wants to see that. I was actually born in Britain, in Coventry, in England, and it was 1982. It was the Great Recession in England, and my dad had been retrenched. He hadn't had a job for about 6 months, and he got offered 2 in South Africa, one in Cape Town, one in Johannesburg. So he ended up taking the one in Johannesburg, and so we moved here. It was 11th of August. My birthday is on the 6th of September, and I was 10 at the time, so I was just turning 11. So I've been here for most of my life. So this is home, but my roots are still in England. I still feel the drag and the pull there. For my blood and bones are calling. So it is a bit difficult, actually. I can sort of sense the land in South Africa, but I have that drag and the pull back to England, so it can be a bit tough. Are you laughing at my nakedness? Yeah, I laugh at my nakedness all the time. And if anybody's wondering, because nobody's asked, I'm going to grow a long beard, and I'm going to plait it into 3 plaits. My daughter said I should dye one side green and one side red. I actually always wanted to grow my hair out, but I'm bald on the top here. So I was going to do it like the guy from Prodigy. So I was going to grow 2 mohawks and then go red and green. My sister thinks it would suit me. I think it would suit me, but I don't know. Who's still here? This live thing is very strange. I've got this little count thing of people over here, and it keeps changing, but the people don't change. I don't know if you saw the lightning there. Conjuring, invoking, and summoning. Not much difference, really. And it also depends on how you view the words. And I think mostly the word invoking, because as I mentioned, some people will interpret invoking as evoking. When you evoke a spirit into a space and you actually trap it. Conjuring and summoning are very similar to that. Invoking is where you're actually calling the spirit or the energy into yourself, into your body. Some people will actually interpret invoking as bringing the spirit into an object. It might not be your own body, it might be an amulet or something. Whereas some other people will interpret that as an evocation because it's not into the person's physical body. So terminology often gets a bit skewed, and people have different interpretations of a lot of things. So it's all about how you feel about the words and how you interpret it and what you've learned along the way. Conjure, let's have a look. Conjure is more about evoking energy. Actually, you conjure energy into a space or into something. So I would actually say that's more evocation, in my interpretation, whereas summoning is evocation in the type of evocation that is more of a trapping, more of a commanding type of practice. But again, I mean, even summoning, it depends on how you feel about it and how you interpret it. You can summon something to you. It doesn't need to be negative. It doesn't need to be this commanding, forcing type of interpretation. There's a lot of language debasement going on. So many terms are used interchangeably, even though they have different nuances and meanings in the first place. There are. There always have been and always will be. I think language itself is flawed. you get into some of the deeper mysteries. Language doesn't even cut it. You can't actually explain something in any kind of language. But when it comes to terminology, I mean, you ask 10 magicians what magic is, you'll get 12 different answers. So when it comes to terminology, there is sort of a general understanding of what things are, but as different traditions start interpreting those words, they're going to have different ways of actually interpreting them. As I mentioned before, with evoking and invoking, when you look into demonolatry, they don't use the word evoking at all. They actually, it's not part of their dictionary. They will invoke, whether it's invocation into self or it's invocation into the space. They just feel that the word evocation is negative. It has a negative connotation for them, so they won't use it. So yeah, you're going to get different interpretations. So the best thing to do is actually try and find out everybody's interpretation, and then decide on which one you prefer. I was going to say I hope that helps, but I'm sure it didn't. Yes. S. Connolly's book. She's actually brilliant, and when it comes to demonolatry, she's excellent. Yeah. I mean, if we have a look at witchcraft, witchcraft is a craft. It's an art, and when we talk about magic, we talk about magic as being an art. And when you think of craft, it's a personal thing. If I create some kind of craft, whether it's a drawing, a painting, usually stickmen. I'm actually better at drawing than that, but anyway, it's going to be different to somebody else's. So it is all very personal. That's why, I mean, on the channel, I try and, the videos are kind of, I don't try and tell people what they should be doing, because I can't tell people what they should be doing. So I try and keep it as broad as I possibly can. With the Temple of Chaos workings, what I'm going to be doing is actually forming an actual guideline that people can follow. But again, that's going to end up becoming personal. I'm following 3 deities, which are going to become part of the Temple of Chaos, and therefore each member will be following them. But at the same time, they might find a patron god or goddess that they want to work with, and they can then, obviously work with that. And that becomes personal. So you do have that kind of basis, the ground work, the grounding, the foundations, and things like that. But you've got to build onto everything, put on, your own personal interpretations, your own personal way of doing things. So even if you are part of a coven, a group, an order, you generally follow their way, but you need to develop yourself at the same time. Thank you. That's exactly what I'm aiming for. So I'm glad I'm actually getting there. I'm accomplishing it. It's good to know. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm not sure if I answered your question in the last video on Friday, by the way, about working with kids and stuff. Well, with kids around. That's if you watched it, of course. I don't know if you have watched it, so I'm just assuming. Okay, good. No, because I was thinking about it after I read your comment, and it struck me that I was thinking about myself working in a protective circle, and my daughter's in her room, and Papa Legba came walking past. So all that stuff's outside, so there's got to be something further that needs to be done. Yeah, I didn't think about it myself. That's why I did the video, so that we could actually get that sorted out, really. Yeah, I actually read about Lon. I read his. He was in a bad situation at the time, though. I don't think he had much of a choice. I don't think you do, Rach, because the problem is you kind of you're doing magic and you're doing whatever you're doing, and you are creating a protective circle. And because you are creating a protective circle, the mind kind of goes, okay, then everybody I love is protected. I think it's kind of a case of well, not really sure what I was going to say there, but I think you understand what I'm talking about. Kind of, yeah. It's a pleasure. Okay, it's 56 minutes in, so I'm gonna end this just now. Anybody got any other questions they want to ask before we go? Okay, cool. Well, your chat's tomorrow, so you've got nothing to worry about. Okay, no problem. I'm house sitting my niece's place from Friday or Saturday. So I'm not sure I'll be able to do a live until next year, actually. I just want to ask you guys quickly. Now, obviously, this is a live, which means that I can put it up as a public video. Would anybody object to that? Because otherwise, I'll just keep it as a private video. And there was a whole 20 minutes at the beginning where nothing was happening anyway. I was reading out of a book. Okay, cool. All right, then. Well, I'll see you in the comments on the videos. And Christopher, I'll see you online tomorrow in our meeting. And have a good one, everybody. Yes, we must share about you. All right, then. Cheers, everybody. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.